Hello. Good day to you. I mean, good day to you. Hello. How do you do? Today's stream is probably a stream, a last stream for a little while. Hopefully only a couple of days, but we will see. For now, I'm going to go to work tomorrow, and that also means that I'm not going to have too much time. Apologies for the slow start. So in short, today I'm going to go to work. This work is going to be long and tiring. It's going to be my first week. It's going to be a bit hard. I don't know how it's going to go, so it might be possible that for 2-3 days I'm not going to be streaming at all. I'm not going to be seen. Then we will see how it goes. Of course, in a couple days my PC will be ready, but that will be the next thing. For today it's just it's kind of a thing. Yeah, I'm kind of happy to go to working, but I'm still a bit nervous. Just a bit. Just a tiny bit. So I had many plans for today, and I'm sorrowful to say that we had a couple of things here today that I had to do, and that was done. I actually talked to people today, people I don't want that I know, and another that I don't. Just random people in the shop, interestingly. And pretty much that's all I've done today. I went to do a little bit of shopping, get a look for my locker's door lock, because they told me that they don't have one. I have to take it. It's nothing. So I have gotten a lock. I have done the shopping for today to tomorrow. I've done today's shopping for tomorrow. But later at night I'm going to later at night I'm going to do sandwiches and bake them out, so they will be ready for tomorrow. I have gone and purchased some choco milk, because you cannot work without that. And for today bought some yogurt, so my stomach will be a bit better. I also applied some salt to my face, so it would be a little bit better, and so some of these pimple like injuries, spots would go away. It tend to work really well. I also shaved. That's kind of was painful for my skin, and yeah, so on so forth. So yes, I'm not sure if I planned this to be an hour-long stream or not. Probably it will be, maybe not. I have slept well today. Today was nice. Still, I have a lot of times I'm planning to play a game. I don't know how. I don't know if this is the OBS that people use to add those plugins. I am a newbie, and as far as I know, there are certain things you cannot add to OBS, and I mean this OBS, and I have been wondering if people are using the other kind of OBS. Maybe is this the one they are using? I think it is, but I'm unsure. I honestly had a little bit of time today. I have time too, but I didn't really check up on things. I kind of want to, but today, for example, I don't really want to do things. I don't want to do anything before the first day of work. But that's all. Yeah, it's a very lazy day today. Yeah. I feel like I today don't really have many words to say. Even though today is a nice day, still we went to do our things, talk to people, and yet it's really nice. But it's kind of mellow. I have my Yoko. It's not Yoko Bella. Here on my desktop. Desktop? No. Yes, the top of my desk, but not the computer's desk. On my table. So I bought this and a couple other things. I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh yes. So I'm wondering if I should watch an anime, play games. I feel like if I play games, then it will just feel like a waste of time, because if you just play games to play games, sometimes it can come off weird, like we are just abiding time, just pushing time forward, doing times kind of, instead of just playing the game to play the game, enjoy the game, instead of we are just, I'm thinking, kind of doesn't really feel that good for me. I'm kind of noticing that it seems my microphone input is kind of weak. I can't really monitor my output. It would be nice. But I noticed okay, so I noticed when I watched last day's stream that my mic and background music was kind of a little bit shallow. Unsure. So anyway, I couldn't plant today, and I'm kind of in a very mellow mood currently. I'm very kind of, in a way. I probably said it 8 times, but yeah. And it's kind of making me sleepy in a way. I couldn't do my planting, however, or the cheese. I couldn't do any of them. I have purchased some cheese from the shop though, or because even if my cheese is good, oftentimes it's kind of hardish. Not the fatty kind of. It's more like parmesan instead. It's nice, but it's kind of, you eat it with something, and not cut it and put it on a sandwich. I don't use that kind of culture for it. But we will see, because this will be a 2 weeks old cheese, so it may be even harder. It has decreased in size a lot. I would say 10% at least. The label wrinkled up on the way. Last night I have been watching a lot of YouTubers. Today I'm planning to watch a little bit of Tricky and a little bit of Lily, Orca Lily, and Sand Dragon Tricky. I really hope she's a Sand Dragon. And I have been watching a little bit of should I say it or should I not? Yeah, I'm afraid because I watch a couple of indie streamers and I really do love them and I really do talk to them, and I'm very afraid that I might. So you see, they don't have that many viewers. So I'm afraid that I'm going to cause them damage, and so I'm afraid to mention their names. But for others, I don't think it's going to cause any damage, to be honest. Yes. So anyway, I watched their meme compilations. It was kind of nice. Some of them, I noticed that some of the meme compilations, because they are in name memes, but a lot of them not really memes, just kind of TikTok videos or such. And some of them have been kind of cursed, I would say, because well, everyone have different kind of humor, but some of them, in my idea, not at all fun. Some of the clips included in this in videos. Some of them are, some of them not. Some of them like a guy punches a sandwich. For me, I'm kind of angry because that was a good sandwich. That's not all is funny, but some of them were like kind of really cursed. I noticed that one. Oh mama. Oh mama. Alright, I had visitors. So some of the memes are kind of cursed. Like, you know how dark humor is, and then you have like, it's not a level of, well, dark humor is not as dark as cursed. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a way that it's it's kind of like when you see those sheep or cow video where they are just replicating like a MOBAs, and it's and I noticed that a couple of meme compilations, not just one or like one guy's taste, but a lot of them started to add a couple of these content that were very damn cursed. Not that it's bad or anything. It depends what is into the compilation, and I don't think all of those things should be in compilations, because some of them, like, if you have watched memes for years, then you might know that some of those that start as a joke, like it's really funny, in reality those can be sicknesses, or that guy is just dead. But it was funny to watch him fall, like in the first 5 seconds, but then he landed. And if you watch the clip fully, then you will be like, well, that's not really funny. The guy is dead. So some of those, and some of this content I don't think should be in compilations like those. But not my compilation and not my place, not my. It's just my little opinion. Because, well, I don't know. That's just. I mean, sure, it might be funny for some people, but isn't that a bit too much? Isn't that? Like, I am not going to be like, ha 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 ha. Like, it's kind of sad. And I usually watch those. So these VTubers are watching these compilations, and I would say they tend to be good. But yeah, sometimes I watch the compilation more and the VTuber a little bit less. And sometimes I don't even watch the compilation, just the reaction. It's kind of like I don't know, it's interesting. For some reason it's pretty good watchable content. I don't know why. I'm unsure of it. Because you know, a lot of times when what is clipped, what you can watch in video, usually are the better moments, like the 50 seconds, 3 minutes part. To avoid uncut 20 minutes. You know, it's not cut, it's not chosen from a part. You wouldn't expect that. Well, to be fair, I was watching indie VTubers and it was hours of good content. I mean, hours. So, yeah, well, it's possible. I just didn't know that I think of it a little bit more. It does make sense. I just don't know. It's just really watchable. That 20 minutes is, I don't know, it's maybe entertaining or just good. I'm not really, you know, I might be streaming, but I'm more of a hobby streamer who have pretty much no views. Just talking because I want to talk and not really a streamer. Maybe later on if this will change, become better or not. But yeah. Maybe because they are professional streamers and making content is their job. They know how to make this, and that is why it's so watchable. Just somehow didn't expect it because a lot of things just do not don't really puts me down, holds me down, bounce me down. Not sure the expression is. A lot of things just don't do that, but yet you watch down and you watch a 20-minute stream, 20-minute compilation like such with a VTuber, and I don't think I would watch a compilation like that just alone, even if it's good, because it's 20 minutes and I'm not really into those kind of compilations. But when you're like watch it with someone, it's like watching something together. It's a weird kind of thing, but it's really nice. I'm going to check if an individual that I watched is the one that has been playing with what I think she has been playing with. Wow, yes, not been kidding. That's a lot of content. You know, when I was watching one of her biggest stream, oh my god, and she has uploaded like what, 10 videos? Like I remember last night she made like a 2, 4, 6 hour long video and it was wow, but she has uploaded like 4 videos since then, and one is 7 hours long, other is 4 hours. Wow. I went to sleep and he has been working for sure. Well, but I see that the last video was a couple hours ago, so many hours ago. Like I think she went to sleep, which I'm pretty happy about. Honestly, I'm sorry. I kind of bested the microphone there. You know, it's yes, that's my yoga pad. So my quote. I often watch indie VTubers, and I actually saw a couple of them who have went up to 160 views, and then it's kind of increasing to 500 and 1000 and so on. It's a lot of them are kind of going up or going down, depending. Not necessarily meaning going down as a bad kind of thing, because I noticed that some of the YouTubers have gone from 50 to 30, but that 30 is always active and a very good, almost like a community, very active too. And also they rotate, so in short it's like they have hundreds of very active community members, which is surprising and refreshing. So I don't really mean, and I don't want someone to watch this and be like, oh no, let's piss on those guys. No, not at all. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, because the algorithm can give you viewers, and I don't want to over explain this. Just sometimes you can have from clips or algorithm a lot of viewers. When I was making websites, it happened that, for example, you put up an advertisement and you suddenly have 2000 views, but oh, you know, 20,000, 2000 doesn't matter. Usually I would say 2000 is a simple Google ad is usually that's 2000 views in like a week or so, and because it's specific or contractorship, and out of that people, it's questionable. What do you want to do? Do you want to know? Do you want to make YouTube spread in name? I hope that's hard to accept. The point is that I'm sorry, I just have to refocus my thoughts. Sometimes when you get all these people coming in, there is a purpose. Either you want to spread your name, as I said, so they could refer you to your friends, remember you. You are a local blacksmith. You want people to know about you. You want people to know that they can find you if they have something. That's that kind of thing. Because if you have 2000 views, and for example you are doing something for which you need your hands, like you are making handmade necklaces, then a 2000 customer is something you probably won't be able to handle. Or for example, if you are like a digger or a concrete pourer, that's just a lot of customers. But if the purpose was to spread your name, then instead of getting like 5 calls a week and getting 3 jobs, you might get 10 calls a week and get 5 jobs. So this is why I am told to ramble a lot, but I like rambling. Rambling is nice. This is the kind of thing you would like. Sometimes you get a lot of views, but they are like, wow, you are in the algorithm or in the machine, and you were for 5 minutes on the front page for any reason whatsoever, and for a moment you came in. I'm just rambling about it. I don't know what was the original topic. So you come before all these people, all this audience, and the question is, how much of this audience can you keep? And also, how much of them do you want to keep? because it can be surprising that some of the people you don't necessarily want to keep, because if you are, for example, a very chill kind of laid back, not so super action centered kind of streamer, you have really nice and chill streams, then maybe it's not a good idea to get all the apex super gamer shooter viewers in your channel, because it can also divide your community, and you might not be able to make that kind of content because you're just still one person, and so you would have to make content with two kind of audiences, double the job, and it just everything falls apart. While if you are, for example, a different kind of streamer who is really just plays a lot of games, not necessarily answered so many times, you have a lot of emoji in the chat, a lot of flows, a lot of action, whatever, you might not want, you might want an ASMR community that doesn't get a lot of viewers to actually do it. That's a bad example. But having a constant super chill, like people who want chill content, not like super raging fans, that might not be good, because you would have to provide a content, talk to them, interact with them. But when you're playing a shooter game, interacting too much will mean, it's one thing to be, it's one thing for your attention to be shared. You can multitask, it can happen, but those things don't really go too well with each other, because you are constantly talking, playing, having action, and the action and talking not necessarily match either. So it's kind of it can be kind of weird, but just from watching experiences, it's not that it's impossible. I think it's just kind of, while with a strategy game or playing like a single player game RPG, you can kind of talk to the audience, interact with them. Hey, should I put a skill point into strength? Should I get this sword, that sword? Maybe we should go with strength build, like if you are playing Dark Souls, or go for a dexterity build, or playing a strategy game. Do you guys think we should build a concrete factory first? I mean, it would increase our industry. Or should we just make another hotel to have more gold, well, cash, currency, and you can talk to your. But when you are like playing a shooter game, and every moment there are things happening and the chat is reacting to that, and sometimes they be like, whoa, oh my god, so extra, look out, watch out, and that's kind of it. And anyway, how was your day? Kind of doesn't fit there, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry for rambling, but I don't really know what else to talk about currently, so I'm just rambling about whatever topic I can find and playing with my box of yogurt. It's kind of big, that I'm looking at it. There's a plus 50 gram. It's 450 gram. Wasn't this 450 gram anyway? Oh no, it's a price reduce. Alright. I just realized that because I was like, this is a standard cup. This is the standard big cup for everything. There are, I don't know if this is everywhere around the same, but we have the small standard yogurt and pudding and sour cream and whatever else. The standard small plastic cup, that is, they might have different forms, but usually they are the same size, 1 or 2 deciliter. We have taller ones too for puddings. I'm using those two, but they are not that much taller anyway. And we have the bigger ones that are much thicker, and like they have around half a kilogram of stuff in them, where this one has 450 gram stuff in them. But you know, it's a bigger cup and you can put a lot of things into it. But that's the point. It's like a family pack of like if you have a sour cream that you buy in this, it's like, it's not like one or you are going to eat it. It's a lot, like half a kilogram. So you know, you might need time for it or whatever. In case of yogurt or pudding, well, not so much, because you can pretty much just eat it alone. Maybe put it into 2 slices or 3. But it's not, well, it's somewhat much, but not that much, to be honest. It's like drinking 2 thick cup of milk. But it depends on how much it is. Because for sour cream is super thick. From that, I'm sure as I'm not going to eat half a kilogram. From apples, you eat like 2 or 3 apples. I mean, I won't probably, because I'm not that hungry for apples, but it's not that hard to eat from apples that much. But if I were to say that, hey, let's eat like half a kilogram of rice, well, that's a different topic. Anyway, and this is the middle. This is not yet the bucket version. This is standard. Pretty much everything is the same size, not necessarily the same kilo, but around half a kilo and half a liter what can fit into it. But that's what I was surprised, that 50 gram gratis. I mean, it's always the same size with everything. So why is gratis? Then I realized, oh yeah, it's on a sale. Okay. So yeah. And then we have one size bigger, which is a bucket already. It's no longer like you have a mug or a little big cup, which can have around 300 or 350 milliliter. Some of the bigger mugs, like how bear mugs are, can easily fit half a liter. But when you go above that, like 600, 800 grams or a kilogram, then we have these little buckets, the smallest of buckets, really small buckets that really just, you can't really call them a cup anymore, because then they are like really deep bowls at that point. It's just a bit too big. So you just kind of rename them buckets instead, because it doesn't resemble a mug or glass anymore. So they become buckets. And yeah, I usually buy those two when it comes to the food, because then you can, like, if one day you want to eat like half a kilogram of your food, like you are going to watch a lot of animes, and like every couple episodes you eat a little bit, like it's a dessert day, then you would like get half of it out of a bucket and you still have half, and you can just, you know, have 2 buckets in it and it lasts for many days. And also it's better priced. That's that. Anyway, I have been watching compilations and streams last night when I was going to sleep, and I have to tell you that it was kind of pleasant. It felt really good. It's not that it's refreshing, but because I can tell that when my favorite indie VTubers come and stream, it's very exciting. I'm really happy. But when you're watching clips, it's not really the same kind of. It's more like you watch a pools of entertainment. It's kind of a That was nice. And they were playing Uno. Nina called the girls. What? No. She was saying some loved words instead. And that's a nice moment. Just repeat them. That's nice. And you watch a couple of these, maybe for entertainment, and I don't know, spend an hour like that just watching small clips, or maybe it's a varied, very high variety content that is kind of nice, but it doesn't. While with watching a compilation with a YouTuber, it's kind of chilling, but also it's like watching a TV, but not like watching a football match. Not that I watch football matches. Just something other people relate to, and I don't watch any of those. I mean, guess it's very exciting for some people, and I can understand. I had friends who were footballers, and it's really exciting when they are doing it. But watching it even watching it in the stadium, from a bird eye view, it's not very exciting. But it can be nice, and it can be nice to watch. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not that very exciting. Watching from TV is even less exciting. I guess people have their own reasons for watching it. But watching a compilation is kind of those mellowish moments. I don't know what's in TV, and I don't really know what to compare it to. It's mellow, nice. It's spending time. I would like to say watching it with someone, but not really, because you're the audience and you're kind of listening to someone. And as I said, the most important thing here is that there is a VTuber in there, and that she's talking and reacting to chat, and yet there is a background with her own. It's interesting. I don't think I can describe this, but I got some yogurt to watch it. That's nice. Yeah. I wonder what's going to be when I have salary again. There is a lot of things around here. I sometimes still remember the 90s and how much the world changed. High school wasn't really what I expected it to be. Elementary school wasn't either really good. Getting a skill, a profession, well, I guess it paid down in the end somewhat, but while I actually love doing it, working itself wasn't really good, because I was in a contractorship, and when a customer can call you from pretty much even at 9 p.m. and for me it's not such a big problem because I'm up till late, but kind of working for an average salary at best and being closed in home all day long, and I know that if I'm working somewhere else I'm not working this hard, even if I'm working physically. But when you are working as a contractor, you have to really just wasting time or such just feels bad, because you know that instead of for example, you don't develop slowly. Sometimes you have to read and you have to research. That happens. That's not really a very fast process. That's how it is. But when you are developing and you know how you develop your your fingers like just constant, and the lines just come one by one. You write a 4 knowing you are going to write 2 more ifs and 2 more 4s, because you have to not research, filter the data, and or call different functions, because if there is just more than there are filter options. Like, you know that for example, when you take a table, I know it's not interesting, but when you take a table, you can call a function to search a row, each element of the row, and call another function to compare the data within, and you can just do it by 2 lines and then say that every line. And but sometimes this is not an opportunity. You cannot do it. Sometimes you have to do it, and you have to already think out what you are going to do, and it's just you have to work fast and furious. I'm sorry. And while I think it's nice to have a skill, I kind of expected a bit more from it. And I don't want to say yes or nay or good or not or this and that, but the thing is, you work really hard, and well, I guess you work everywhere kind of hard, but because it's kind of why you are here, you don't want to waste your time. And if you, and it just, for me, it doesn't really feel nice when you're just paid to stare at the whiteboard. Don't really like that. Even if it's pleasant for some people, I don't really like that. So, but you know, there are periods when you don't have a job as a contractor, and when there are periods when you have twice as much, and then you would be like to try to balance that, and then you keep contact with the customers, everything for them, every bug, because if you want to be a good developer and a good contractor, sorrowfully it never actually ends where you said, okay, that's all I'm gonna do, because these people are just everyday average people, and I'm a developer. I'm going to know how everything works, but for them, the UI I might make, or some things just don't really fit well into their heads. It's not convenient for them. It's not logical for them. For me as a developer, it might be, but for them, it just would have been easier if it would have been in the tools menu, and then it's just there. For me, it might have had a different menu label, and so these afterworks are technically something you can count in, and be like, okay, 5% goes on to the whole project, and so on and so forth, if the market allows it, and so on and so forth. But there are some things that sometimes come up later, and like 2 weeks passed or 2 months passed, and after that you just kind of have to help the customer, because that's the decent thing to do. That's how it is to work, that's how it is to, I don't know, do things, you know. And sometimes there are bugs too that come out a little bit later. I had a bug that come out like a year or so later, and I was like, but why? And oh yeah, I pressed an A, you know, I made a typo while coding it, and it hasn't been a problem. Nobody noticed it until the A disappeared at the end of the line, or a function kind of miscalculated because of it. Of course, it's not a miscalculation usually, but no, it's null something or throws back some kind of cheat. So anyway, and it's a continuous work, and the thing is, I really like to do it, a lot of it, and I had two kind of things that I was doing as a contractor, and I have to say that I kind of liked it, regardless that you have to keep a budget, you have to keep an Excel sheet, a calendar, you have to keep contact with the customers, do the job, everything around the job, the research, sometimes sacrifice some of your free time. Because for example, when you are home at resting, and what if you get a call? That happens. So in a way I like to do it, but after a while I kind of have this feeling, and I don't really want to say bad things about it, because I still want people to do it, and I still want to do it myself too. But after a while I felt like I was a slave of my own, and I haven't been earning that well either. I would say I would earn super well, but not really. And it's not that everything was terrible or I was not charging well, but I wasn't. Compared to my country, you know, if you live in Western Europe, you charge a Western European price. If you are developing on the internet, you can technically charge the same, but that's true for an Eastern European. For example, if you live, not even Eastern, if you live at the other place, like nothing stops on the internet a guy from a richer part to ask a developer at a cheaper part to do it cheaper. This goes vice versa and kind of mediums. So for people from, I guess, poorer places, this is a great opportunity. And here locally, because some people still, they won't be like, I'm going to go on the internet and English website and going to compete people on bidding places to see what's the lowest of the price they can find. But I mean, it's still locally, I think, not bidding, but they're trying to find someone in their own country or even in the neighborhood, because their company needs a website or something some has. Right, point being. And in that case, you can only ask a local price, and this is another problem. Even if you become better, for one, I couldn't open towards international developing or bigger developing companies anywhere, to be honest, because one, I had a lot of jobs, keep myself up. More expensive jobs don't really come in, but even if they do, then they take more time, and kind of when you are developing, you are both researching and you become better yourself, and the toolset which you can do things become bigger. I have small engines and searchers, tools, libraries that I can use to pretty much get to problems easily, very easily, put smaller things together. But then WordPress became a thing, and for one, everyone else can do it. Second, you have to learn it, and then you are both competing with everyone else who can just start a website, but you still have to offer something more, and in the end it just becomes kind of a gibberish, where like most of what I say, that you can't really compete with the low prices, because then it would be like, as they say here, like a production line. It becomes like ready. You have to do super many standard, kind of not good but okay, but cheap quality things, like a lot of it, must produce a lot of on the line, just must produce a lot of similar kind of things. And I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I guess it's easier to start things up for people, so it's kind of how things move forward. But on the other hand, you have to compete with those who lost their job too. You have to compete with very low prices. So say if you have needed like So now, because we have cheaper websites, the top, which didn't actually got cheaper, also seem to be like, if I can get that much for this little, then why is that, which is not that much more, so expensive? Because there is this automated process for the low and there isn't for the top. So it's like it's kind of being broken up between the benches, because the other things, even if I know how to do it fast and actively and so on, it needs so much more attention and human resource. It just needs more. And for example, when you have to ask an artist to do certain kind of things, it doesn't seem so much more. Or if you have to ask a photographer or so, there are things that even if I develop faster and say, okay, I'm going to cut on myself because now the market became cheaper, okay, there are certain things you just can't, and then it becomes a kind of a hamster wheel of trying. Not so. I really like the contractorship kind of working in a sense, but it also have huge disadvantages. And as a developer, I kind of wanted to improve upon myself a lot and like get new tools and so on, but I could never develop because, for example, there are a lot of things I have I still have the little bit of noter of how many things I wanted to learn, and I got to a point where, of course, jQuery, for example, is a great thing, but I don't need it. The reason for this is because I have my own little very fast sets of things, and I'm never being asked things that would kind of require. So after a while I'm just like, well, it's somewhat faster and better to use it, I just don't really need it. And a lot of people already expected it because I'm not getting an order that would justify to use a better tool even if it would be faster. And then there are things like making a JavaScript based menu, or kind of like an ordering, where I'm like, alright, maybe let's use jQuery for this, but then once again I don't use it because I'm just not used to it anymore, or I just don't want to bother with it currently. And it's just, you kind of notice that instead of saying that I'm using 3 external libraries that are great for creating websites, instead I'm making kind of these shortcuts. Like I have my own little small libraries that are going to cut down work hour by a lot, and not without losing any kind of quality. But on the other hand, this is what jQuery is in itself. This is what it is used for. But I don't need the whole of it. So it's easier to do little batches of certain common things that kind of, you had once, you had it twice, you have it 10 times over, and you would need them anyway. It's not like you don't need these kind of things. Sometimes you need certain things that also exist in jQuery. I mean, it was made by developers for a reason, not person. It's a really good thing. But you get to the part where you realize that you just don't need it much enough to develop with it, and 2 years ago you were using it, and I don't know if jQuery using it does use more of you, because some of the things when you are using it outside frames, or for example if you have a website that has like two windows, like on a normal Windows, these little tabs, then you will want something that makes those little frames for you, and a lot of kind of things. like that. So you will need those kind of things, but to use them you kind of have to learn, kind of sometimes look things up. I'm sorry, I touched the microphone. So you need those kind of things, just a little bit of researches, a little bit of snippets, but you kind of learn them and you will remember them. However, if you don't use them, you start to forget them, and kind of got to a point where I realized that I wasn't going forward at all with my skill, and while I was capable of, I have learned so many things. It's just hard to describe how many different variety of things I gotten to do, and things I had to do, and the things I have to find a way to doing it, and I really love that. But after a while I'm like, okay, and no, I have to apply for a job, for example, and I realized that if I apply for a job I will be kind of connected down. Maybe the company have multiple jobs, so try yourself out on an interview. I was kind of curious about how an employment kind of job would be, but the problem was that here it didn't pay exactly very much. It actually paid so little that if I take out the smallest tax, if you're self-employed, we have a package that you can just pay, and you don't have to worry about taxing. As long as you are under a certain income, you don't have to pay extra taxes, whatever. It's just kind of a package that solves everything in a way, and you just have to pay that monthly. And if you have that, and of course there is social taxes, everything, and if you pay that and look at your income, then you have a lot more, actually, much more. In regards, if I was earning 250 and 50 was from that the package, tax package, and it wasn't going so well, or it went even worse and I just had 200 and from that just 150 was mine. Compared to that, the top max could be like 400 or 300, and that's still 250 that for you. But as an employee, I was offered things like, for starting, for the because you are a new guy at the company, so you are going to earn in the first 3 months a little bit less, so that's 160. But when you are better, you are going to get 200, and then you calculate and you will be like, well, I have really bad months, but I have to come to these guys and work every day, not even in the best kind of environment, because at home I have a gaming computer. They have these kind of cheap developing computers with giant screens, and then in a sense you would have much more many jobs that you can work and increase your skill sets, and work for many customers. It's just when you get there and they are using only one software, only one frame set, I'm sorry, one external library, well, and the pay is not really good either. So I was like, alright, that's kind of bad, let's look into international community. So I got a couple of jobs from the internet, different countries. I actually had projects that I was working for 3 months and such, and I learned so much, and that was the first time when I felt like I'm actually moving forward and doing things and making background and front end, back end, everything for what you would want. But those jobs were very rare, and if you are working for something on 3 months, you kind of have to refuse every other projects, small projects that you are being found with, and then you have to refuse them, and it's kind of like disappear. And these long jobs, long project jobs are kind of rare. Kind of, I once again feel like falling in between the benches, because these projects are not like you have a. So for example, if you have one of these projects and maybe 2 months later you have another of these projects, but maybe it will be 6 months. So in between you would have to do these small jobs and one which are good, don't misunderstand, but you can't, because now we are doing something else, and then you would have to share your resources, work at 5 projects at the same time, pull everything kind of out, and yeah, just complications start to arrive, a lot of complication. And I would say you earn a lot, because I guess you earn a lot more. You can earn thousands of dollars with 3-month projects. I would say 1, 2 is the minimum, 9 maybe the maximum, depending what I can do. So, but even if you like share it up for 3 months, then it's not really that much. It's, I would say, covers around a third, or I wouldn't say half of your salary, but it covers a third of. So you would have to do a couple, like 2-3 jobs at the very least. That's like 3-4 days in a month beside this, and develop these two, kind of make a living. So that's not so bad, because that's like 12 days in a month if you don't count rest days or weekends or so on. Yeah, it's 12 days, and let's say then 8 days for the project, or 5 more, depending on how do you want to count. And yeah, it's just, you can kind of feel that you start to calculate, and and if you pull it out to 4 months, then it's also not. It's a long story in short. It's a lot of calculations, a lot of so on and so forth. I couldn't. That was my last ditch effort to kind of pull for the international community, and the reason for this was because while I have kind of been getting skills, and for once in a while I felt like I'm a real developer, and it's kind of when like you see someone who's like have been a professional for 20 years, and you be like, well, that's a professional guy, and you want to be that guy. And when I was doing these kind of projects, I kind of felt like a real developer with real things on. But again, the monetary part was something like, if I would have asked for $5,000, I couldn't have. I wasn't competitive on the market. I had to really go down, and even then I lost jobs. But I was like, look, this is the minimum. I can't work for like 100 USD for a month. And just, of course, this never happened. Just saying that there is a bottom line where I would have to say at least give me like 300 or 400 USD dollar for a month, and I will then continuously be developing your project, of course, beside other projects. I will be continuously developing it. But even with like this, I lost projects, and I tried to open up, so to get more jobs and so on and so forth, but I just had very hard time completing. Maybe it can be also because I'm slow, or because I'm kind of a shitty developer. It can always happen. I'm not saying best of the best, not at all. But for once I felt like my career was both growing, getting better, my skills were getting better. Finally I was able to do real developing things, and I want to say a very simple comparison of how it feels like. Imagine you are a blacksmith and you live in a village, and you have learned metallurgy, you have learned everything, and you can create so many kind of different tools. But the only thing they ever ask of you to make is a hammer and a hoe for the farming lands. That is all. Not that rare, not that plenty, not really something you could create too much wealth on, not something that you would have a great loss with. It's just always the same two things, and you kind of improve upon those things. Sure, you become better, but nobody ever asks you to make an axle or a carriage, or make a gear, or do anything that would kind of want more of your skills. So you try to kind of shout, kind of, hey guys, do you need something else made? But after a couple of years, you get to a point where, yeah, it's just kind of, as they say, working on the line, on the production line, kind of just mass production of the same projects over and over again. And while they do play some, I'll be honest with you, if we compare the 250 and a 200 at best income, well, not at best, but on average, that's the medium, because you can get 150. If you have a bad month, like there are months as contractor, there are months when nobody orders anything, just how it is. A lot of things. I have been in two different kind of contractorship, and kind of different kind of two fields, and both had their downtimes. With developing, there have been months when there isn't much on. I guess there are still jobs, and the one before kind of pulls into it, then you get a couple in betweens, and then the next comes. But it lowers your income. And I actually looked up different kind of factory jobs, physical jobs, everything else, because I wanted to move again out of the chair. I don't want another office job that may or may not pay well and will be okay, and I'm going to sit all day around. I wanted something that was active for once. And I actually looked up the jobs, so I would be like taking a break or whatever, and I kind of noticed that the salaries at certain places, even without a career, were like 250, and I had like 150, 200, or at best a 300 income, and this was 250 at the base. And taxes, nothing, no customers, no budget, no shit, just you get the 250, that's it. And yeah, that's not what, yeah, that kind of surprised me. And they had overwork opportunities, extras, so on and so forth, which kind of put the salary up to 340, something I could barely or never hope to reach. Contractor. No, I had friends who have went to 60, went up to around 300 and 400 with the contractorship. So I think it's kind of possible, depending on what you do, what kind of skills you have, who do you work for, because you can work for companies that are from the West, or companies that work, different kind of fields have different kind of salaries. So it depends on what kind of businessmen are you through. This of course has been a couple years ago when money was worth a lot more. Today it is, yeah, today it's a little bit different. But like 6 years ago, and not 6 years ago, like 4 years ago, also 6 and 4 years ago. Let's just say that. Hasn't been today. Well, actually, during the lockdown, I was also developing. So there are kind of like when I was working in a factory, I was also developing and doing kind of things here or there. So yeah, that's a secondary income that you don't actually have to tax. So like that, it was a lot more, but it's still a second job. So anyway, I did a couple calculations and I realized that it's a lot of work being a contractor and doesn't always pay. And this is kind of why I want to be a hobby streamer too, because I like doing it. It feels good. I love developing, really. Sometimes I just pick up projects for nobody. I just imagine one, and I make a game-like web shop for cars, where you can like pick up what kind of engine, what kind of calculations. There is an image there, a drop-in image, kind of like in an MMO. You can like, do those type kind of things. And it's just for that. It's just it's not even at the database and so on. That's kind of simple. Just bunch of words together. In a way, if you think about it, it's just like putting in things down to text, but with a format. It's kind of what databases are in a way, but much better. And so making a database doesn't necessarily take much time and effort after you know how to, but kind of coding those things and solving those challenges is what kind of, and that's kind of the cherry, I would say, the cream of it. Best when you're thinking about, okay, and how would I solve this? How would I create this? That's when you are like, when you are playing a game, and for example you play a strategy game, and when you have to solve those kind of things, or like your brain being worked, that's exciting. But when you have to just farm again the same kind of things without excitement or without any kind of challenge, that can become boring. So kind of make up these projects in my head. I develop them to some time, not necessarily make them beautiful or pretty. They don't really have designs. I just get down kind of pictures from the internet and so on and so forth. I just kind of do them because it's nice, and kind of that's how I want to stream too. I like to give more back always, but in a way, I mean, I could imagine working streamer, full time being a streamer. That's a thing too. But do that. More like how a contractor is. But just kind of yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's a kind of interesting idea in your head, but it's kind of one of those things when you're actually paid for something, you have a feeling of need, but for that you actually have to do something, and it's kind of interesting in that regard. But I'm much more like I wish to be a kind of hobby streamer, not really go super overboard with it. Like I do want to make animations and so on and so forth. I do those kind of things, but I don't really know what going overboard it is, or what's the difference yet. Just not kind of, yeah, I don't know what I want to say. Anyway, thank you for coming. That's it for today. I was happy to be here, and I hope